Hey, when you think about 2024 and all that is going on, there's so many options you have to get things done. But what do we really have to do? What should we be thinking about? What should we really have on our mind as we enter into a new year? And so many people make resolutions. So many people say they're going to make things different. They're going to break habits. They're going to focus on doing this and focus on doing that. And everyone wants to achieve some major goal, whether that's making more money, being happier, having better health, whatever those things are. But what are you going to do, and how are you going to go about doing that? Well, I want to focus on giving you some tips specifically for 2024, 9 tips that I want to really leave with you that will really, make a difference in your life if you really implement these things. So let's walk through each one. So we're going to hop over to the whiteboard. And the first thing I want to talk to you about is really this whole becoming highly intentional about your success. Now, this is a critical thing that we want to focus on in 2024. And this is a tip I want to leave with you. Now, when you think about intention, so we know that when you become intentional, right, attention will follow intention. So if you start to be intentional, you'll start to give more attention to that thing. When you start to say, I'm going to be intentional about what I want to do, about what I want to get done. This is to just remove distraction, to take things out of the way that get in the way of your focus. You want to be highly intentional. You want to do things on purpose, right? That you're really thinking about, I'm intentional about growing in this particular area of my life. I'm intentional about getting this particular thing done. And I'm going to start to really move those things out of the way and get my attention on the right thing because my intention is so strong. So this is a matter of, allowing yourself to remove the distractions from the things that matter most. Now, let's go into another critical area. Here's another thing I often remind people of, and I want to remind you about this for 2024, is to create an emotional drain list. Then attack it. What this means is we're actually getting really clear on the things that cause emotional drain. So no matter where we're at and what we deal with, there's something that tends to pull emotion from you. And it's pulling that energy from you. It's causing you emotional stress. It's causing you to feel overwhelmed. It's causing you to feel as if it's just too much to deal with. And that emotional drain, it just starts to seep out of your life. And a lot of times we need the good emotions to have happiness and to bring our energy towards something, to really be passionate about something we believe in. But sometimes we don't feel like we have enough of it left. That's because there's either a slow leak or a gaping hole of emotion that is going out. And so what we want to do in 2024 is we want to think about how to actually have a very clear list of the things that are draining us. And when we think about each of those things and items, right, it might be an individual, it might be a task, it might be something you're trying to do, it might be an actual memory, whatever it is. But to get really clear on this thing is an emotional drain. And then to start saying, here's how I'm going to attack that this year. Here's what I'm going to do to focus on removing the opportunity for this thing to drain me, right? Very, very critical, right? Let's go to number 3. So number 3 is to move from health, education, to health personalization. Now, this is very important because we learn a lot about health, and we know we need to eat, we need to move, we need to sleep. But a lot of times what we do is we get lost in so many different levels of education about health. Whether there's a new diet, some sort of new article, or some new blog, some new video that you can watch that'll tell you, here's what you need to know about your health, here's what's important. But what we fail to do is to really understand how to personalize a real health solution that allows us to be able to move forward in our life and be successful with our health. So what we want to do is to understand and put more energy in 2024 to getting real information about the things that are really unique to us. We want to understand what our key markers are. We want to understand how our body works. And I invite you to get, more of the deeper metabolic testing and getting outside of just the normal Western medicine and trying to move a little bit into some of the different arenas that are out there that allow you to know more about how your body is functioning, your unique body. All of our bodies process food in a different way in terms of the level of nutrition we pull out of a meal or how many vitamin deficiencies we may have. All these things impact us. So until you understand what's unique to you, you will never be effective with your health because every single person is different. So in 2024, we want to focus on how to think differently about personalizing our approach to having better health. Now let's go to number 4. So number 4, we want to invest in your personal growth. Now, there's a lot of investments we can make in this life, but I want to be really clear. There's no greater investment that you can make an investment in yourself. Acquiring greater knowledge, greater awareness, greater understanding, getting more details about the things that will allow you to hone your skills in a way that will allow you to grow from the inside out. There's nothing we can do that we didn't first feel, and we can't feel things that we didn't first think about. And so the whole think, feel, do is very important. But if we don't put the right things in our mind, we can't think about things that are possible. We can't think about things that we can achieve. We can't think about things that can make us better, help us achieve more, help us to actually acquire and become the things we want to become. It starts all with the way that we think. Now, when you consider that I have to be intentional about growing personally, just as I would if I had a garden and I was intentional about, putting the right things in that ground for my tree to come up or my plant to come up, I have to be intentional about growing in my career, growing in my relationships, growing in my wealth. So we have to start with personal growth, how we think, the limitations we set on ourselves. What are the things that childhood has done that are still plaguing us that want to follow us into 2024? What can we do about that? Invest, spend money, spend time, spend energy in things that allow you to grow personally. Don't take it lightly that you have to spend real investments in your time and money in things that cause you to grow as an individual. Do not take that lightly. All right, let's go to number 5. All right, number 5, we want to prioritize your time around your values, right? So your values are extremely important. When we think about, all of the values that we have, a value is something that we hold in a higher regard, and because it's something that we feel is right. It's something that we feel is most important. It's something that is critical to the anchor of who we are as an individual, our character, our, the thing that we feel is of greatest, importance in our life, right? And so sometimes we say something is of greatest value, like a key relationship, or like creating success in our business, or making sure that we spend time with our children or a significant other, or making sure we take care of our health, like whatever that value is, right? But the thing is, a lot of times when we look at our schedule, there's this immense disconnect from what we say we value and how we really use our time and how we really start to organize our life. So we have to actually start taking the values that we have, understanding them better. And once we understand those values better, we want to start considering, am I really, considering on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, what am I doing that really shows that I'm organizing my life around those values so that at the end of the day, when there's all this movement, all this activity, all this action, what's left behind is real results that align me with the things that matter most to me, so I say. So this is what we want to do. We have to prioritize this. We have to consider this one of the greatest things that we can do with respect to our 2024, right? Now, let's go to number 6. Now, with number 6, moving right along, we want to create a wealth development plan. Now, we all should have a plan to create more wealth. And, when we think about wealth, we want to create cash flow. We want to create assets, and we want income producing assets that surround our life. And so we have to have a plan. I don't care where you are, I don't care where you're starting. I don't care if you're, just getting going. You still should be thinking this way. What is my wealth development plan? How many income producing assets do I have that I can create? Whether that's an online product, whether that's something you can do through e-commerce, whether that is something that you're doing through real estate or stock, or if you're going to be a part of an affiliate program, what are you going to do to create more income producing assets that allow you to create a wealth development plan in which you're thinking about where you want to be in, a year, from now? Like, where do you want to be? How are you going to get there? And you got to start somewhere, right? Whatever that thing is, you want to really think with a wealthy mindset. A wealthy mindset says, how many different assets can I own that generate cash flow and create consistent forms of income into my life? Now, if you don't have any assets, then you are the asset, right? You are the income producing asset, and you're going somewhere called a job and you're exchanging your time for money. Well, you can only go so far with that. You only have so much time. And many times these jobs limit what you can make with that time by giving you some sort of hourly wage or salaries. But you want to have things to step you outside of that. By having a wealth development plan is actually thinking about how can you go further than those limitations, thinking about new ways of bringing wealth to you. Now, this actually brings me to number 7. And number 7 is kind of close to number 6. And this is to create a wealth protection plan. So when we think about wealth protection, some of the things we want to do in 2024, we want to think about how to protect what we do have. How do I minimize the amount of money that I'm paying in taxes? Now, I want to be really clear, and we want to there is a way to minimize the amount of tax that you pay so you can keep more of your wealth. You can protect more of your wealth, right? So we want to learn about how to be effective, right? And to not pay more than we should with our taxes, and keep more of that money and reuse it to grow our wealth and to grow our portfolio, right? We want to use more of our money, right? Versus just giving it away to the government unnecessarily. Now, we're not saying we don't want to pay our fair due of taxes. We want to pay taxes that we shouldn't have to, or that someone else that's in the exact situation that we are is not paying just because they know something you don't know. So you want to make sure you're protecting your wealth. But you also want to think about things like your trust. If you haven't done that yet, 2024, let it be your year. You're going to set up your trust. You're going to set up your will. You're going to put things in place if something happened to you or something came about, that you protect your assets and make sure they go where you want them to go. I don't care how little you have or how much you have. You should be thinking this way, right? Very, very critical. Now, let's go to number 8. So number 8, we want to build stronger bonds with friends and key stakeholders. Right? So this can apply friends, family, but also key stakeholders, people that are key to the success of your life. Sometimes there's key stakeholders in your business. There's key stakeholders that have a stake in helping you be more successful in your health. There are key people that are really important to you keeping your mindset right. And you need to keep them around your life because these are individuals that always show up in the right way for you. So you want to build those bonds even stronger in 2024. How do you get closer to the people that are really a benefit to you? They're a benefit to your life. Their advice is always sound. They tell you the things you need to hear, not always what you want to hear. You get the people around that you can depend on for the things you're doing in your business, the things that advance you in with respect to some of your fitness and health goals, right? People that actually have real examples and real things that you can lean on that are solid, that are tangible, that are weighty. These are the types of bonds you want to strengthen in 2024. You know, anybody that thinks they can do all of this on their own, they don't need any advice, they don't need good mentors, good friends, they're sadly mistaken. We all need something we can lean on that is dependable, something that we can lean on that's strong enough to carry the weight of some of the things that we put on our shoulders, you know, day after day, week after week, year after year. And so we want to make sure in 2024, we identify who are those individuals that we need to build those stronger bonds with so that we can actually have a team and a network surrounding our success that allows us to get to that success faster, quicker, easier, better, right? It's very, very important. All right, let's go to number 9. Last but not least, what I want to give you a tip on is to create a quarterly, what I call no meeting. So I want to give you a tip. And that is for quarterly, 4 times a year, sit down and have a meeting with yourself. It's called a no meeting. And what a no meeting is to sit down and really think deeply about things you can say no to. One of the greatest things that you can do as a leader, I don't care if that's in your personal life, your career, or your business, one of the greatest things you can do as a leader is have the courage to say no to something. Being able to make a decision, right, means something was cut off. Actually make a very clear decision. This is what I'm going to do. And for me to do this, I can't do that too. So being able to say no means I can say yes to something that is more important, more valuable to my life. So it's always yes and no. But the hard part is saying no. So what we want to do is come to the understanding that I have to realize my life is always changing. It's ebbing and flowing. And I don't start one way and just stay that way. You know, what I'm doing in January doesn't always feel the same way in February. What happened in February doesn't feel the same in March. And definitely what happened in January is way different than what's going on in March. And so what are we doing? We have to stop and say, hey, how's my life begin to pick up all this debris from all that I got going on and all the moving that I'm doing, moving and grooving and shaking and baking. I got all this stuff happening, but now what has accumulated? And I want to stop and see, like, I need to say no to how much time I'm spending with this level of entertainment because I'm trying to get somewhere and I've got too much time going here. I need to say no to stop slacking off on my workouts. And I used to do this on Friday. Now I'm going to start doing this to help with my workout. I need to say no to certain things that I've been eating that I've started letting down on. And now I'm starting to get to the point where I'm eating a little bit too much sugar. I'm having a little bit too much, sodium. And I know that I got to watch my blood pressure, whatever those things are. And you evaluate that, right? And then you let some time pass. Next quarter comes around and you have your no meeting on your schedule in 2024. And you say, look, let's meet again. What's going on now? What can I say no to? I'm not getting enough time. I need some more spiritual time. I need time to meditate. If you're a person that reads the Bible, you're a person that likes to pray, do I have enough time to do those things? Am I spending enough time with the people around me that I say are my friends, the people that I love? If I got time that I actually invested in those relationships, I got to say no to some of the work so that I can get to some of the relationships that are important to me. You always have to reevaluate. And when you don't reevaluate your no, you end up saying yes to everything. And when you say yes to everything, you're saying yes in a way that's going to have to say no to your own success. So this is why we want to be selective at what we want to say no to so that life doesn't end up making us say no to something that we really want to say yes to. And so these are the 9 tips. Let's look at them one more time here. Becoming highly intentional, right, about your success. We want to be very intentional. We want to make sure we understand our emotional drain list. And then what do we want to do? We want to attack it. We want to understand that this is about health personalization. We want to get away from health education only. We want to invest in our personal growth, right? So we continue to grow upwards. We can keep advancing, right? We want to prioritize our time around our values, to make sure as we use our time, we always know we're getting the most out of it because we're focusing on what's most important. We want to create a wealth development plan and a wealth protection plan. So we're not just trying to create wealth, but we're trying to keep that wealth. And then we want to build stronger bonds, right, with our friends, with our key stakeholders, so that we can have that network around us that helps to create our success. And we have to have our quarterly no meeting on schedule to make sure we're saying no to the things that allow us to say yes to the real achievement that we want in our life. Now, I hope you enjoy everything that we cover here. I'm Michael Lee Parker. Make sure you're being the CEO of your life and go into 2024 like a CEO. Take charge, keep expanding, and overcome every obstacle. And if you do, 2024 will be everything that you want it to be. I'll see you then on the other side.